Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder. Obviously, as you can tell, today I do have a new overlay made. This one was designed by warpgraphics_ on Twitter. I'll link his handle in the description below. Definitely give this man a follow because he is amazing at graphic designs. A huge thank you to him for hooking me up with one of these. It's really simple, but I really like how good it looks, and I think it complements the DS colors really nicely. He's already done some designs for other YouTubers like Shady Penguin as well, so definitely give him a follow and contact him if you want any work stuff done. In addition, like I said, I do have a lot of videos coming up. I know I keep on saying this and they haven't actually come out yet, but just reminding you guys, the Thunderous analysis should be up later tonight. Team building guide, I'm hoping to get that done by the end of the long weekend as well. And of course, an analysis on this team, which I've been using for the last week or so, should be up soon. So I'm going to be working on all of those right after this video is done, so keep your eyes open for that. And so we're just going to look for our opponent right away. As you can see, my rating is 1605. I've already played 29 games, actually. And that's because I ended up streaming a lot of the matches between yesterday and today. It's actually kind of crazy. Yesterday we only had 4 games, now we're at 29, so that's 25 games I played in the last day or so. But yeah, you know, I did say I was going to stream the mid-tier matches on twitch.tv/CybertronVGC just because that way I can try to get higher rated opponents throughout, you know, Road to Ranked, as I find a 1552 rated player from Korea. So you're going to want to give me a follow on Twitch to know when I go live, and hopefully that way I'll be able to climb up a bit higher and run into higher rated opponents. My opponent's rating here wasn't very high, but she's got a really threatening team. That looks like a really solid team of Amoonguss, Gengar, Scrafty, Zapdos, Kangaskhan, and Gothitelle. So Goth obviously holds very near and dear to my heart since I used it at Worlds last year and at Regionals this year, which I think is really good. So definitely Trick Room team here. Goth and Amoonguss on the same team is interesting because neither of them really have much offensive pressure. And it's kind of weird to see Kangaskhan there as well because, you know, Kangaskhan's normally on the faster teams. But, you know, I use Kangaskhan and Gothitelle at Worlds. So cool to see my opponent having both of those this time around. I'm going to lead with, I think my opponent's going to go with like Gengar Goth or Gengar Kangaskhan. That's my best bet. I'm going to lead with my own Gengar because I can taunt the Gothitelle and Amoonguss, which I think is really important. I can also Icy Wind the Gengar to slow it down to make myself faster. And I'm thinking of Bisharp next to it. It's between Bisharp and Hydreigon. You know what? I'm going to go with Hydreigon, actually. I'm going to have Bisharp in the back and Salamence as the last one. Though Terrakion in this match actually isn't bad, especially because it's got Lumberry, so let me rethink this. Okay, I'll lead with Gengar for sure. Yeah, Gengar Hydreigon makes sense to me a lot. I'll go Bisharp. So maybe I should have Terrakion. Nah, Salamence is better. I'll go with Mence. So we'll lock in and see how this plays out. But also a Korean player, which is pretty cool to see. Because you know, there aren't many notable Korean players, or at least people mainly outside of VGC community know, outside of Sejong Park, which of course is one of the greatest players of all time. But I think Korea does have a lot of really strong players, and I'm hoping to see more of them at the World Championships this year. But we see Kangaskhan Zapdos as my opponent's leads. Not the Gothitelle I was expecting, but I go with Hydreigon and Gengar, which is fine, because both of my Pokemon are faster than that Kangaskhan, which is of course good news. Though this does make me wish I kind of brought the Terrakion in the back. I have Bisharp and Mence in the back, so I really want to knock out Zapdos because Zapdos is a threat to Salamence, given that it can Thunder Wave it. Okay. I think I want to go for Will-O-Wisp onto Kangaskhan and Draco onto Zapdos. No, I'm actually going to Icy Wind here just to get the speed advantage in case any of my Pokemon go down here. And I am going to target Zapdos here with the Draco. Kangaskhan Mega Evolves me, indicating that it targeted Hydreigon this turn. Of course, Kangaskhan in Scrappy form can hit Gengar for, with Fake Out, which is always kind of scary. And he does go for the Fake Out onto the Hydreigon, so okay. That's fine. So he's going to see that I am Choice Scarfed here since I'm going to be able to outspeed my own Gengar. Oh, Icy Wind misses. I think that was the Zapdos? That's unfortunate. Zapdos goes for the T-Ball right away into Gengar. Okay. So that's not going to KO me. Now I can just wow the Kangaskhan, but I feel like he's going to switch out Kang. So I'm very tempted to Sludge Bomb and Draco the Zapdos here, which is what I'm going to go for. Slightly aggressive play. Oh, wow, he does stay in. Okay, interesting. But I'm fine with that because I want Zapdos gone quicker. I'm not sure if I can actually pick up the knockout here. It depends how bulky it is here. Bring it down to under 50%, but it might have Citrus Berry. Oh, but it doesn't. Okay. So probably having Rocky Helmet or Safety Goggles. That's my other best bet. As I do knock out the Zapdos, which is fantastic. Let's see. Kangaskhan here goes for the Drain Punch. Very cool. Onto the Hydreigon. That's going to knock me out, and it's going to be able to heal. Of course, the healing doesn't really matter, but interesting trade-off there. As I pick up the knockout on Zapdos, which for me, I'm actually perfectly fine with because that was by far the biggest threat to the remainder of my team. So I'm going to bring in Mence here, and now I can safely Will-O-Wisp the Kangaskhan as well, since it is really slow at this rate. But I'm curious to see what comes out on my opponent's end, since everything else on my opponent's end is kind of Trick Room oriented. So maybe Goth, maybe Scrafty, maybe Amoonguss. It's going to be Scrafty, actually. Which is fine with me by all means. Because now Scrafty can't really touch the... Scrafty can't touch Gengar with the Fake Out, so I can just Will-O-Wisp the Kangaskhan slot freely. So I'm just gonna go Will-O-Wisp and Double Edge, honestly. Should he choose not to Fake Out, maybe he wants to go for a Nice Punch instead. That Scrafty's just gonna go down. So no switches coming out from my opponent here, so that Kangaskhan's definitely getting burned, unless it went for a Protect, but if it went for a Protect, Scrafty is just going to get knocked out by Double Edge. But he does go for the Fake Out onto Mence, which is fine. And he Sucker Punches, which is going to fail. Will-O-Wisp hopefully connects here as it does. So, that was a costly Sucker Punch, I think, on my opponent's end, because now this Kangaskhan's burned and at -1 attack. So, really, really good turn there for me, for sure. Let's see. I don't want to switch out here to Bisharp, so I'm honestly going to... I feel like Kangaskhan might switch out, so I'm very tempted to taunt that slot. I don't want to feint to a Sucker Punch either. You know what? So I'm going to taunt and Double Edge. If he stays in with Scrafty, I'm just going to KO it. But so Kangaskhan's not going to go for the Sucker Punch here, which is smart. But Double Edge here should KO Scrafty even at -1 attack, just because I am max attack admit Salamence with Double Edge. And that does pick up the knockout, super effective attack hit. So that was huge, and I KO Scrafty, which was definitely a threat to the Bisharp I had in the back. Return comes out here for Kang, but... with the Intimidate and the Burn, it actually does a really small amount of damage, and that's because the Mega Salamence is already defensively bulky as it is, so good turn there for me, definitely. As the last one for my opponent here is going to be Amoonguss, which I'm definitely very happy to see. Let's see. I'm just going to taunt the Amoonguss and Double Edge into the Kangaskhan slot. Yeah, Amoonguss protects here. And the reason why I double edge into Kang is because I know Kang has to attack this turn. So his only options there were to attack with the Amoonguss by Rage Powdering, or he's just going to let his Kangaskhan faint. So that was the safest play possible. Don't knock it out quite, but with the burn, these next 2 turns, it is going to faint. As he goes for the return here onto Mence. And Mence actually hung on after that first hit, which is kind of crazy. But one more turn of burn, and that Kangaskhan's gone for. Though this actually does end up being pretty close. So basically I'm going to bring out Bisharp here. My opponent's definitely going to Drain Punch the Bisharp. But he doesn't have a way to really touch Gengar with the Kangaskhan, so all I need to do is taunt the Amoonguss and it's basically game. And the Kangaskhan's going to faint from Burn this turn anyway. So that was a really good Will-O-Wisp that I was able to get onto the Kangaskhan. And I'm really glad that I was able to burn it, because Burn Kangaskhan is just so much weaker. So Bisharp's going to protect here because I don't want to take any Drain Punches. As he does go for the Rage Powder with the Amoonguss, which is a smart play. So had I gone for a Sludge Bomb, you know, it would have been redirected away. Given like he didn't Sucker Punch here, I'm guessing he went for Drain Punch onto Bisharp. As he does, perfect. Oh, whoa. That was weird. Sorry, that just blacked out for a second. But Kangaskhan faints there. Yeah, that was really weird. Hopefully we don't have any issues here on out. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just going to double open to Amoonguss here with Sludge Bomb knockoff, and it should KO. I've never had that happen to me before. That is really strange. And that picks up the knockout. So I'm going to be able to win this first game 2-0. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. That was really strange, but at least it didn't actually like corrupt my file or anything. It was just a weird technical glitch. Like my DS screen just blacked out for a second, but then it came back. So I'm going to end up winning the first game of today 2-0 in a pretty good battle, honestly. It was back and forth. There was not much luck involved, which is always good. And the turning point was really getting the Will-O-Wisp onto Kangaskhan and KOing Zapdos, so the Salamence could come in and freely just KO everything else. So that's why I like Salamence so much, because if you avoid the electric type attacks that your opponent's team has, then you really just have a great time. So that's awesome. So we're going to look for our second opponent of the day as slowly climbing up. Win-loss ratio is now 2-1, which is alright, but I did end up having a lot of losses, actually on stream yesterday too, so to anyone who tuned in, I have to apologize because I had a lot of silly losses where I just choked away wins. You know, it's a good learning experience, and it really starts counting once we hit 1700s and plus. Right now, it's just trying to climb there. As our second opponent of the day is going to be Thomas with a rating of 1559 from Italy. Thomas here has also got a really solid team of Jellicent, Aegislash, Kangaskhan, Sylveon, Cresselia, and Landorus T. So the Jellicent definitely sticks out to me because everything else looks relatively standard in terms of Pokemon, but we have seen Jellicent a bunch, especially on Paul Chua's team. Immediately, I could tell that Bisharp is fantastic in this match because it hits 4 of my opponent's Pokemon for super effective damage. Landorus can give me the Define Boost, and Kangaskhan, I can still Sucker Punch it for over 50% of damage. So, Bisharp, really good in this match, but I'm going to want to conserve it. I feel like if I lead with it, I might just lose it to the Kangaskhan immediately. So I do want to be careful here. I think I'm going to lead with Gengar. I'm going to go with Gengar Hydreigon, actually, with Bisharp in the back, and Salamence is my last one. And I'm going to lock in there. I feel pretty good about my choices. I'm not going to bring Clefable, you know, I can't really hit anything for super effective. Aegislash has the super effective Flash Cannon against it anyway. Landorus has a spread Earthquake, so I don't think Clefable is really that important in this match. And while Terrakion would be nice, it is weak to Landorus' Intimidate, Aegislash is Flash Cannon. Of course, Landorus has Earthquake and Superpower to hit it as well. Sylveon's really annoying to deal with, as is Jellicent, so the Pokemon choices here were pretty obvious for me just because they give me the best matchup, but should be interesting to see. Right now, I think the lead is really what's most important for my opponent here. That might dictate the course of this match. So we do see Kangaskhan Landorus, so that was what I was expecting. Though I'm not sure if this is the best lead matchup, even though I was expecting it. Maybe leading Bisharp Gengar would have been a bit better. I'm not really sure, honestly. As he gets the Intimidate off, but that really doesn't matter against these special attackers. So right now, my priority is to definitely knock out that Kangaskhan. I'm going to go for the Icy Wind here, and the... Oh, if I were my opponent, I would fake out Gengar, I think. And U-turn / Rock Slide. So I kind of want to switch out into Bisharp. I think it's Scarf Landorus. Yeah, you know what's very unlikely? Bisharp gets a kind of free switch in here, so I'm going to go for Draco onto... King. Yeah, let's scout out what items Landorus has. Of course, this can be a bad play should my opponent choose to Mega Evolve Kangaskhan and fake out the Hydreigon instead. Oh, it does Mega Evolve, so that might have been a costly mistake for me. I should have just Icy Winded instead. Yikes. Let's see. Did go for the fake out onto Hydreigon, so I should have just stayed in and Icy Winded. I really thought the Scrappy fake out was coming, but I predict that probably a bit too much at this rate. And I am faster than Landorus, so that's good news as he goes for the Rock Slide here. So that's not Scarf Landorus. So I called that first turn pretty poorly. Opponent had things I really was not anticipating. So I'm protecting Bisharp here. Let's see, what's more important to knock out right now? Definitely Kangaskhan, yeah. I'm going to go for the Draco onto Kang. And I'm protecting here just in case Landorus chooses to Earthquake / Superpower. Or maybe Earth Power if it's Special Landorus, but Special Landorus T really not that common. So I get this Draco off against the Kang, which is really nice. It does a chunk of damage there, a really nice amount. So that doesn't look like a very bulky Kangaskhan. He does go for the Ice Punch into the Hydreigon, which is going to knock me out, unfortunately, but that's fine. As I'd anticipate, maybe Landorus did go for an Earthquake here, or maybe it just Superpowered or Rock Slided. Because it doesn't want an Earthquake to hit itself, and it does go for the Superpower, so okay. So I'm going to bring in Gengar here. And I really need to conserve this Bisharp. Oh, this is tough. I'm going to switch out to Mence here. And I think Kangaskhan's going to want to go for a Sucker Punch. Well, let's see. We've seen Fake Out and Ice Punch. Maybe it doesn't have Sucker Punch because... I don't know. I mean, it can't really touch Gengar at this rate anyway, so I'm going to switch to Mence. And I'm going to go for the WoW onto the Landorus, yeah. That makes sense to me. I'm guessing the Landorus has Focus Sash, though it might have Assault Vest as well. But no Life Orb or Choice Item, as we've seen. So I get the Intimidate off against both of those, which is good. Will-O-Wisp fortunately does connect with the Landorus, which is also really good news. It's going to make its attack significantly reduced. Kangaskhan does go for the Drain Punch, which is perfect because obviously the Salamence is going to take it like a champ. As the amount my opponent's healing back is negligible. So given that it has Drain Punch, I'm really guessing it doesn't have the Sucker Punch, which is actually really good news for me. Because I can Icy Wind this next turn. Landorus actually goes for a U-turn, a smart U-turn there. But this can actually help me because it means that the Bisharp I've got in the back can actually take a potential Defiant boost because my opponent's eventually forced to switch into Landorus. So, that was a good last turn for me because I got in Salamence safely, got the burn on Landorus, and he didn't really do much. But Cresselia is going to come out here for my opponent, which is definitely not a Pokemon I wanted to see. But what I'm going to do now is switch into Bisharp and Sludge Bomb the Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan is either going to stay in and just get KO'd or switch out. Regardless of the outcome, I'm fine here. I guess the one fear is if Cresselia smartly targets my Gengar with a Psychic type attack, but I really think it's going to go for the Ice Beam here into Mence. Regardless, though, I think if I can knock out Kangaskhan, I'll be fine. Right now, that's the main priority. Salamence switches out. And hey, if he switches into Landorus, he's just going to give me the Defiant boost too, so we'll see. But yeah, he's just going to stay in there with King, so, you know, I was correctly deduced that he didn't have Sucker Punch, and the Kangaskhan here is going to faint, which is good news, as Crest goes for the Icy Wind. That's even better news for me! That's going to give my Bisharp the nice Defiant boost, putting my attack at +2, so that's sweet. Though I suspect my opponent's last Pokemon is Sylveon, which might be problematic. Let's see. Icy Wind is good though, because it means he can't knock out my Salamence with Icy Wind. You know, had he had Ice Beam, he could have, but Icy Wind, not going to be able to pick up the KO. So let's see what the last one here. It can be Aegislash, it can be Sylveon, it can be Jellicent, but wow, Landorus is going to come in for my opponent here. It's going to give me another boost from the Defiant, so interesting decision there. So, +3 Bisharp now. I'm going to protect here with Bisharp for sure. And I'm going to go for my own Icy Wind. The Landorus switching, I guess, kind of makes sense. He's probably going to want a Superpower here. I mean, the thing is, like, Landorus can't really touch Gengar either. Unless, I guess, it has Knockoff, but we'll see. Yep, he does go straight for the Superpower into Bisharp. And I am still faster, even after that Icy Wind. So I'm going to be able to, you know, do a lot of damage to that Landorus, excuse me. Cresselia is going to be slower too now, so Bisharp can once again outspeed it. I think it will go for a Psychic here into the Gengar as it does. So that should knock me out, but that basically plays out as well as I would have wanted it to, because now my Salamence can come in. All I have to do is knock off Cresselia and double edge Landorus, and there's not much my opponent can really do to prevent that, because, like I said, that Icy Wind against the Cresselia was crucial, putting it back into the same speed tier. And my opponent doesn't have any safe switch-ins right now, especially to a +3 Life Orb knockoff and a double edge coming out from Mence. So, let's see. Actually, the fear here right now, since I'm Adamant Mence, he might be faster with the Landorus. So I'm kind of worried about that right now. But I guess my only other play here is to Sucker Punch Landorus. I could also Sucker Punch Crest and Double Edge Landorus. I think Crest might switch out here, honestly. It's probably going to want to switch out or go for a Helping Hand. You know what? I'm going to Sucker Punch the Landorus and Mega Evolve and Protect. Yeah, that play actually makes a lot of sense to me. That's as safe as a play as I can get here. Because that way I outspeed his entire team. In the future turns, Sucker Punch knocks out Landorus, and Cresselia can't touch Bisharp anyway, so I feel pretty good about this play. And I'm not going to risk that Landorus being faster than my Salamence, since I didn't get the Mega Evolution off earlier on. And Sucker Punch does pick up the knockout here against Landorus, which is great, especially since we saw no switches, so really good turn there for me. Let's see what Crest went for. Wow, it has Ice Beam as well, so Psychic, Icy Wind, and Ice Beam. That's a really offensive Cresselia. As Jellicent's my opponent's last one. Perfect. Now I can just double edge Jellicent and knock off the Crest. Though, actually, you know, I'm just gonna Sucker Punch Crest in case the Jellicent somehow outspeeds me. Might be Scarf Jellicent? I don't know. I would assume this is a Trick Room variant, but we'll see. But cool to see Jellicent again. Obviously, it was on Paul Chua's team, which I've already featured a bunch of times on this channel, which is a really strong team. I think that team supports Jellicent really, really nicely. But yeah, it's really rare to see Icy Wind and Ice Beam on the same Cresselia, so that's kind of interesting. Cresselia does go for the attack here, so it's just going to feint to my Sucker Punch, which is obviously great news. And at this rate, I should have the battle won, because Double Edge, even if it doesn't KO Jellicent, Jellicent can only KO one Pokemon this turn, so I can just KO it the next turn with whatever else I've got. And Double Edge here actually doesn't knock me out, and it gets the Cursed Body. Hello. Let's see what it goes for. It does have the Citrus Berry, which is an item you should expect on Jellicent's. But I'm curious what the Cresselia had. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp onto Salamence, which makes sense. Good play there. Well, so getting my, that's annoying that he actually disabled my Cursed Body, or he got Cursed Body to disable me, but I'm just going to knock off here. Even if he goes for the WoW, there's nothing much he can really do, and I'll Dragon Dance here, because I don't want to Earthquake myself, obviously. So unless he, like, crits a Scald, or, that's the only thing that can actually happen here, is a Scald crit KOing the, Jellicent, but I'm actually still faster than it, so probably a Trick Room Jellicent variant, and I am going to be able to pick up the KO there and end up winning the game. Also 2-0, so two pretty close games today. I think Bisharp was the real MVP of this match. That's why I love switching Bisharps into Cresselia, because Cresselias love to Icy Wind, so if you do call it correctly and get a free +2 attack, I wasn't even predicting it there, but ended up working out for me. So fortunate turn of events there, and that Bisharp was really able to close up the game very nicely. So two great games today. Even though obviously my opponent's ratings are still pretty low, we are slowly climbing up to 1700, and once we hit there, the opponent should be of higher quality, though I thought both of my opponents there had some pretty neat teams and neat Pokemon. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, leave a like if you did, and I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, peace.